Hi, this is Anne. Today I'm going to show you a texture pot that you can make with texture paste, and then I will paint some flowers into it. So I've just made a random, not a random, but I've made a pot here that I want to use to put my texture paste in. If you struggle, you can always turn it over and look at it from that side. Or you can watch it in a mirror, you know, just take it up to a mirror and just check it, and you will see if there's maybe something that doesn't look right. So I'm just going to take my texture paste and I'm just going to put it on here. And I'm just going to make a thin layer, well, not too thin, but a nice decent layer here on top of my pot. So that's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to take my bamboo skewer. I'm just going to make myself some marks in the texture paste. And then I'm going to let it dry. And when it's dried, I will come and I will lay some ink or something into this and show you what a nice texture you can make for yourself on a pot. Mine is a little bit, it could have been a little bit more stiff. And I'm just going to leave it overnight to dry, and then I will come back and do something on top of this. You can make a little bit more texture if you like. It doesn't really matter. You can actually do whatever you want here. I'm just going to leave this as is. I'm just going to make a little bit of raised area here and there with my bamboo skewer, and then hopefully this will dry nicely. So now I'm just going to leave it to dry, and tomorrow I will start to show you what I'm going to do on top of this. Before we start, I just want to show you something quickly. Get yourself a color wheel. If you are starting out to paint and you want to, maybe like we are going to do now, do the yellow flowers, then you can have a look. I'm going to use in between these two colors for my sunflower, this orangey yellow and this bright, almost lemony yellow color. And then you can see the colors opposite is my complementary colors. It's my purples and my blues. So I'm not very into soft muted colors. I wish I could do that, but it's a struggle for me. So you won't see me. I try sometimes to paint a little bit more soft muted colors, but yeah, the most of the time I don't. It doesn't work for me. So if you've got your yellow, so you know this is the complementary color, so that's what you can maybe put at the back of your painting. And then you've got your, if you maybe go to your orange, you can see it's going to be your blue or your green or your violet blue. And the more you go around, like in your red orange, you can see it's your green. And remember, what also works very nice, if you want to darken this color, you can use your green to darken that. Then you've got your red, and you can see it's your green, and so you can go all around this thing. The other thing that I also want to show you quickly is if you take your yellow and your orange again there, this colors here, it's family. They are next to each other, so you can use anything in that range and it won't be a big problem. So I'm just going to start now. The colors I'm going to use, just want to quickly show you. Let me just get my charcoal and I can write it down for you. I'm going to use my orange or my red and my yellow, and I'm going to use yellow. Now that can be from a lemon yellow to a darker orange. You can just in the same family. And then I'm going to use a green, and I'm going to use the green. It's a blue green. I'm going to use that in my leaves as well. The pot is at the moment is white, but you always use white and black or Paynes Grey. So I'm just going to write down black or Paynes Grey here. And then yeah, my yellow, or maybe a touch of red, I'm not sure. And I've got a little bit of I'm going to use this raw umber ink. This is ink, the rest is paint. I'm going to use this in my flower on the pot, and then that's just basically the colors I'm going to use. So we can get starting now. Okay, this is dried. You can see it dried quite well, and see what happens, and I can always paint over it when I'm not happy. So I'm just going to wet my pot with my water. I don't mind if I go over the sides a little bit, because I am going to paint it, so it doesn't really matter. I've got Liquitex ink, transparent raw umber. I'm just going to take a bamboo skewer. You know, if you follow me, you will know I use this a lot. And I just want to drop in a little bit of my inks at the bottom. I don't use a brush at the moment because I don't want it to go into the background too much. I want to fill up all the valleys. These are almost finished. I need to go and buy myself some ink. You can also paint this whole thing brown, and then you can just paint your pot white. It also works, but I was in the mood for seeing the ink flow today into all these nooks and crannies. Just making sure it's everywhere where I want it. Okay, I think that's enough. Oh, I forgot about that piece there. And I can just as well go around my pot and with the brown. Don't be scared. You can always cover up where you mess up. It's really no big deal. It's, you know, you've got the paint. You can cover up everything if you need to. Okay, I think that's enough for now. So I'm just going to use craft paint. I'm still busy with these quick and easy tutorials for beginners. This almost looks like if it's got a bluish tint, so I'm just going to drop in a little bit of it there. And I'm going to use a little bit of my white as well. Let me just get a little bit of my white. And I can maybe actually in the mood for a little bit of blue. Why doesn't it want to come out? I'll just have a look now. Okay, if you look at the sunflower, it's got this big round seed pod there with a little bit of a darker center inside there. If you look from it from straight from the front, then you must always cross your little heart there, and then your leaves can come. All of them must go into your heart with that. I don't know how to tell you otherwise, but you must always make sure that each leaf can go into your center, if I can put it like that. You can just fill up with a lot of leaves there, but that's the main thing, is to take your center and your leaf go into your center, each leaf. If you watch it from the side, the more you watch this is the sunflower's heart. That's the big brown center there. If you look at it from the front, it's round, but as you turn it away, it starts to get like an oval until it's almost flat. Now you've got this centerpiece there in the middle. So what happens if it goes to that side? You can see your little dot also goes a little bit to that side. If you turn it this side, you've got more of an area here and the lesser area there, with your dot moving a little bit to the bottom. So the side that it's tilted away from is the side that will be getting less and less and less, and you will see more of this. I hope you understand what I'm trying to show you. But with that said, if you've got a heart that's looking away a little bit from you, you know the dot will be a little bit off center. That's the middle of your flower, and you've got the same story going there. Oh, that might. So every leaf is going to come from there, from the middle of your heart. But as they come to the front, as soon as this flower is moving like that, you've got these little flowers that will maybe be in front a little bit, and some of them are turning a little bit to the back. So there's your sunflower. And also what happens is your leaves got a tendency to curl around straight, and then it curves again up to that area, and even here it curves a little bit. So you must always remember that one is straight and that one comes in from the side. But don't give it too much of a curve, because then it's going to look like a flower, as you know, it's not going to look like a sunflower. And some of the leaves can even turn a little bit to the outside, and some of them in front. So I hope that makes sense for you. Now I'm only going to make about 3 sunflowers. So you can, if you've got a very dark background like I've got, you can use your chalk, your blackboard chalk, and you can just maybe decide where you want your flowers. Maybe you can put one. I'm just going to make the hearts now. Just maybe you can put one there. Maybe you can put one here from the front, and then maybe you can make one there that's turning to that side, and that one is looking that way. So I'm just going to make these 3, and I'm going to show you. I like to overlap some of my areas, but as soon as you put on the leaf, it will overlap these areas. What you maybe can just have a look at is to see that your flowers is not on the same level. Maybe you can make that one a little bit higher for the purpose of I don't know what the purpose is. But anyway, you can use your Rotring Tiki Graphite 0.0, or you can use a jelly roll to draw this in for you. If you start, you can even draw in your flowers, petals like I did there. I'm not going to do that, but you are welcome to do that. So what I firstly will do is I will make the center of my flowers black or dark brown. The other tip I want to give you is if you use craft paints like your Heritage or your Dala, or I don't know what is available in your countries, these are not that good for me, the coverage and so on. As you can see, it covers quite nicely, but you must put it on thickly. But I like to use a nice white or artist quality like this. Galleria, Winsor & Newton will work fine, or maybe your Iris in white or whatever. So I like to use a nice white, because the white tends to go away and fade a little bit away when they get dry, because there is a lot of fillers and stuff inside the inside the craft paints. You can use your flat brushes like this that's got a square point, or you can even use these ones that's cut at the angle. I like these ones, they work very nice for me, especially if I do flower leaves. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover my little heart with my black. I'm going to make them big. I like to make big flowers and big everything. So if you start out, try and make them bigger than you think, because we tend to go very small. You can also do this in oils. It will also work for oils. So just cover that. The other problem that you've got with your craft paints is your coverage. You've got a very dark background here. Now when I want to make a yellow sunflower, I'm going to struggle to cover this area. So you can even put a little bit of white around your flower, and then your better white, not your craft white, and then, or use your craft white. I'm going to use my craft white, but I'm also going to use a little bit of this Galleria, maybe in the final stages there. But what you can do is you can maybe use your white there, and you need to come to your center the whole time. So what I usually do is I take my canvas and I turn it in the way that I want the flower to be, because it's actually sometimes a struggle to do this, especially on this side. So turn your board that your little heart is looking to that side. You can even put in a little bit of a mark there for you if you want to see where inside of your heart, where your leaves must go to. So I actually don't want to put in the white. I'm not going to put in the white, but you can do it if you would like to. I'm just going to go. So you can use your brush. If you turn it like that, you can see the angle. If you turn it like that, it's almost like a knife. And you can just put the sharp point up to where you want your leaf to be, and just do that if you would like. Otherwise, you can just come around with your leaves. Remember, I'm working to that area the whole time. And you can even take a little bit of your orange. I'm just putting in a little bit of my red that I've got here on my palette, and I just want to make myself a background or a shadow color. Black is still wet there, so I'm just going to keep away from that area, and then you can put in your little flower leaves. And I'm turning my board the whole time, and I'm going in the direction of my center. So I'm just going to put in a few leaves so that I can see what I want to do. I'm going to start highlighting them a little bit later. And now you can see I'm going to make a few going that way and a few maybe going that way. It's actually, for me, difficult to paint small. I like to use very large canvases, but it takes too much time and you want to show it in a video to paint big, because then it takes hours, and then I can't show you on this small scale what I want. So what I'm going to do now, firstly, I'm going to quickly dry this, because I don't want to, I like to work wet in wet, but I don't like to work wet in wet when I put my first layer down in the craft paints, because I've put it thickly on so that it can cover a little bit of my background. You can also maybe put in your leaves or your stems now, so maybe I must just do that. I'm just going to take my green like in a knife, and I'm just going to, remember your stem is coming from that little circle there, So I'm just going to put in my stem. That one is coming from that side, and that one is coming from that side. So just remember your stem comes out of your heart from the center. I'm just going to highlight it a little bit. And then I'm just going to make a leaf. So I'm using the point of my brush to make it into a point, and then I just make a leaf. And I'm overlapping a little bit, as you can see there. I always overlap my certain areas. And then you can just highlight a little bit again with your yellow and white. The best color to highlight with is your lemon yellow, but I'm not going to use too much colors today. I'm just going to use my yellows and my little bit of reds to make an orange, and my black, and that's about it. And then the greens that I've put in the background. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly dry this so that because you can see if I bring it closer, there's a lot of thick paint and it's tending to go to the sides now. So I just want to quickly blow dry that. The color that I didn't mention is my burnt sienna. I haven't got it actually in a craft paint, but you can use your yellows with your blacks. It will give you a little bit of a greenish color as well if you want to highlight there. But I'm just going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna just to do the little hearts later on. I didn't mention that when I gave you the colors I'm going to work with. You can even use those raw umber ink of yours maybe there. And remember, if you don't have the ink, you can use your acrylics. Just make it put a little bit of water with it that it can flow, and then you can drip it in there. You don't need the inks. So I'm going to start with just want to get a little bit of a smaller brush. I think I'm going to start with my highlights of my yellow now. So I'm going to use different colors yellows, because I want a lemon yellow and a bright yellow. So I'm going to start with my yellow, and I'm just going to remember your light is coming from this side, so you must keep that in mind when you start to paint. So you can just, maybe if you start with this one, just do that again, that you can work better there. As this is very small, I'm not going to go into too much detail, so I'm just going to, I know the sun is going from this side, so it's going to hit there and some of the leaves in front. But I also want this one to be to the front and that one to the back, so I'm not going to worry too much there for highlights, as I want to highlight these ones. Let that one can recede to the back. So maybe I will start with this one to not confuse you too much. So I'm just going to put on a little bit of my yellow now. You can start out like that, or you can maybe put a little bit of white into your yellow. Otherwise you're going to have a struggle. You can also use a small round brush if you like. I'm not into very small brushes, like this one maybe, because I fiddle too much then. So I try and not go into too small brushes. And if you want to paint looser, then you must try and use a bigger brush than you really think you need to use. I'm not going to highlight all of these there. I just want to let this quickly dry before I do another layer there. So now you can see I can stay away from that area. So I'm just going to put on my, remember I'm just using this as a knife and I'm just dabbing it like that. You can maybe put some little bit in front there and leave that area dark again. So as the sun is coming from this side, it can maybe touch some of these leaves here, and maybe where your leaf goes, it goes a little bit like that. It can maybe on the round section, but I don't want to complicate it too much for you, so I'm just going to highlight some of the areas. You can always go back and highlight a little bit more. Don't be tempted to go into it too much. This leaves tend to go a little bit away for me, so I'm just going to maybe just put a little bit of my lemon yellow with this. While I'm waiting for that leaves to dry a little bit, I'm just going to cover up some of the areas here with a little bit of my white paint. Remember, I haven't painted this yet. Got a little bit of yellow on my brush now, but I'm not worrying too much. I went over that area with my greens and I just want to I don't know how I'm going to get this round texture, because I actually want that also to be a little bit of, you know, like brown dots, but I'm not sure I'm going to get that attempted, but we will see. Okay, I'm just going to quickly dry this again and then I'll be back. For now, while I'm waiting for it to dry a little bit, I'm just going to put on my burnt sienna there. It almost looks as if it's dried. I've got a very big problem. It gets very hot here where I live, and I'm losing my acrylics. A lot of, if I open one of these, usually and there's not a lot of paint left, especially, then they start to dry and become unworkable. So I'm just going to quickly put a little bit of my burnt sienna on the area where I think the highlight will be from. You can put in a little bit of yellow with that as well, and just maybe dot it around the highlighted area. And remember, where the light touches first, it will be lighter. So what that means, if I've got a area that let me just quickly highlight that. I can sometimes talk and do this. And everything casts a shadow. I hope you can see that. Everything casts a shadow. My brush is casting a shadow there. So you always got this dark line where your pot is or whatever. So just remember, where your light touches first, it's going to be lighter there, and at the back of that it will be darker. Sometimes it doesn't work like that if the light maybe comes from the back or something like that, but generally it works like that. So I'm just going to highlight a little bit more here and there, and then I think we will see how it looks. I'm just going to take a little bit of my black and just make that area darker inside the little heart area there, and maybe here and there. I'm just tapping here and there. I'm not just tidying up. Maybe if I went over the heart area. I'm not painting the whole thing. I'm just putting a little bit of black here and there. Just want to put a little bit of a shadow on that area there. It went too light. I've just taken a little bit of my ink. I'm going to try and use it flat and just touch the raised areas as I want with that little texture I made with my bamboo skewer. I just want some of the areas to be a little bit more textured. If it doesn't work for me, I can just go over it again with my white, and I will maybe go here and there a little bit with my white. So I'm just going to quickly let that dry, and then I will go over that area. I don't know even if I must maybe try and cover some of these areas. You can see the craft paints as such. If I put it over there, you can see it's still coming, the blue is still coming from the back. That's what I said, if you maybe can get yourself a better white, you can actually, this one is, I think, you see I used this one, but I think the thicker heritage is a little bit, a little bit better. I like the soft area there. So I think that is dry, so I can maybe go in with my white. And you can always just put it on your finger and dab it, that it's not too much. And just slightly highlight the areas again where your light comes from. So it will be that side from this side, and there will be a little bit darker, but I'm just going to put in a little bit more white spots because, as I said, I used a little bit of yellow and I don't like it. So you can just cover up some of the dots and leave some of them there. And I think I'm finished. Sorry, I bumped the camera. I hope you enjoyed it. You can even maybe put a next layer. I think this will be dry now. Maybe put a next layer on top of some of the areas. I just want to show you. Remember, if you paint small, it's not that easy, but if you paint bigger, you can always use that texture there that you see on the flower. But as it is such a small flower as this, it actually is not going to be worth it to try and, put a little bit of white here and there, but we can try and do that. So for me, I like to paint big, but it's not possible, as I said, if I want to show you stuff, and I don't want the videos to be too long and bore you to death. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would love to see you next time. Take care and have a lovely day.